Superficial scribblings on sexism. Superficial scribblings on life. Who the fuck needs criticism when I can always be right? Here we are once again for the ninth fucking time on episode 9, obviously, with yours truly, fucking something guy 912. Reading stupid articles want to tell you about how fucking sexism works or the patriarchy works. And me, being a cisgendered white privileged male, would know all about that. So obviously I'm going to defend it on the virtue of that. And what do we have ourselves today? Oh, that's a good one. When rape goes viral. Because everyone knows that, rape is just a new fucking trend, It's like that fucking shitty-ass happy song or Taylor Swift Shake It Off. It's so viral. It's like, somebody is texting on Facebook saying, yeah, I'm going to go rape somebody a day. YOLO! Yeah. Here we go. I was raped at an off-campus event, Kelsey, not her real name, who just finished her freshman year at University of California, Berkeley, tells me. I think you probably should reverse that sentence because it just does not sound right. She tentatively chooses a word and drags out the first letter. Can't say that word. She never reported the assault. I wonder why. Probably because she's full of shit. Maybe because she's not, maybe because she's been, talked down by the police or authorities, saying, oh, we need to find evidence first to make sure. And she's like, oh, you don't need fucking evidence. I'm emotionally hurt. And because I feel like I got sexually assaulted, that means it's automatically true. Yes. But if she's never going to report the assault and yet, go and say, oh, yeah, I was raped, then, she's not really doing a lot about to, have the culprit, uphanded at all. So it's kind of her fault. About a week later in her dorm, a group of students was clustered around a guy holding a phone. A bunch of my floor mates had gone to a party, says Kelsey. Not her real name, by the way. There was a video of him, very drunk and laughing, and fingering a girl who was very drunk and crying. And everyone on my floor was gathering around the phone watching this video and laughing about it. She was horrified. What? When I said something, I was told to shut up and fuck off, and it wasn't my business. Very drunk and crying. Well, maybe the drunk girl was crying for something else. Like, a lot of, when you're drunk, you get stupidly fucking emotional about bullshit. Like, I've seen my brother get fucking emotional about something, and I thought it was unintentionally hilarious. So, how do you know for sure how can we really say that she was crying about him fingering her or something like that? And yes, I know what the feminists are going to say. Oh, well, she was drunk. She's obviously not consciously consenting to it or shit like that. But, there's so many fucking variables to go about. Are we just to assume that the drunk girl was just not consenting, period? Are we to assume that? This wasn't the guy who had raped Kelsey, obviously, and she didn't know the girl in the video, but it was really similar to my situation, she says. I just kind of put myself in her position and married. What if everyone in my perpetrator's dorm is doing the exact same thing? So, if she supposedly if this is really similar to her situation, then, once again, it is her fucking fault, because she was fucking drunk, and the first thing that being drunk does is destroy your fucking sense of judgment, and that apparently her getting raped was some guy fingering her, and people just gathering around awkwardly, either amused, laughing, I don't know. Well, they were laughing about it, apparently. It's just fucking weird shit that these kids are doing. Anyhow, she says she went to a school administrator who was sympathetic and asked Kelsey to get her hands on a copy of the video. There you go. That's the first sensible thing you guys fucking done. But because Kelsey had already expressed her outrage, none of her classmates would forward it to her. She said she tried to follow up with the administrator a few more times, but nothing much happened. Of course, it's certainly possible that action was taken behind the scenes without Kelsey's knowledge. What? Or at least as far as she knows, the student didn't face any repercussions for his actions at all. I have to question how she even got the fucking video. Or, well, how she's expecting to get the copy of it. I mean, they're probably going to delete it. Although it does seem to destroy the purpose of recording it in the first place. Kelsey, not her real name, is one of the anonymous plaintiffs, who makes me wonder if this person's not real at all, in a national complaint, against the Department of Education and several universities for violating students' civil rights by failing to thoroughly investigate reports of crime on campus. I think they did, it's just there wasn't enough thorough evidence to suggest. And for failing to follow up the Clery Act, a federal law that requires colleges to keep accurate crime statistics. Okay. Like I said, if they don't have enough evidence, they can't really keep a statistic of somebody who has not yet been, convicted of that crime. Janet Gilmore, spokeswoman for UC Berkeley, says the university is yet to see the complaint, but we care very much about this issue and work hard to encourage students to report sexual assaults. Good. We thoroughly investigate these cases and work with surviving students to ensure they are getting the counseling support and any additional care that they need. But even though Kelsey is that's not her fucking real name. Stop using that name. You said it the first time that it's not her real fucking name. So stop using it like as if it's real now. Because you said it was an anonymous plaintiff, so I have to wonder if this whole thing is fucking made up just for fucking attention. It's just like the first 6 episodes of this shit. Is deeply engaged in anonymous plaintiff is deeply engaged in activism surrounding the issue of rape. She's also been very private about her own experience as a victim, because I highly doubt she was a fucking victim. Huh? You think about that for a minute. She's anonymous, but yet you are aware of her anonymous activism around the issue of rape? What the fuck? How's that fucking work? How can somebody be anonymous, be active? Directly active. Right now, she's home for the summer, and her parents still don't know that she was assaulted. Maybe she should talk to her parents about it, Or that I'm starting to wonder if, maybe she just made the fucking shit up. She feels incredibly lucky that she didn't end up like the girl in the video. How? How can she feel lucky about it? The victim not only of a sexual assault, but of a gross affront to her privacy. Well, it's her fucking fault being drunk, huh? Yeah. And like I said, she's probably crying for something else. Andrew Pott faced a dual trauma of assault followed by widespread judgment. But, come on. How do you even know she's home for summer? This anonymous plaintiff you claim to be real, even though you're making up this fucking name around the spot. Anyhow, let's keep it going. And yet, even as she seeks to maintain privacy about her assault, she's doing a pretty good job with it, with the fucking anonymous thing now, isn't she? She says she wishes more people would have seen the video of the crying woman being attacked. What, you want to make that fucking viral? What the fuck? That's kind of fucked up. Assuming the university failed to act, they didn't fucking fail to act. You failed to act. Perhaps the release of the video would have changed that. Well, hey, it wasn't your fucking video to release in the first place. It was a fucking person who was recording it. That's why it was so fucking hard for you to grab a copy of it, because I'm pretty fucking sure that they deleted it. And they did all they could. You're the one who's failing to acknowledge that you're pretty much at fault for not going to the police or to your parents about it. The only thing that you did that was sensible was talk about that particular assault. But you didn't go about your fucking rape, since you're acting all superficial about it. You don't tell us when, you don't tell us where, how long ago, how bad it was. So I have to doubt, I'm sorry, but I have to doubt that you fucking were raped. If the video had gone published or something, like what, on fucking YouTube? Probably not YouTube, but fucking, I don't know, Pornhub? RedTube? You porn? Maybe the university would have actually done something if it would have tarnished their reputation, Kelsey says. I want to know where you're getting these fucking quotes from. There's a history of sexual assault and harassment being swept under the rug to make the campus look like a perfect and safe place. Even though the fucking campus said that fucking classmates should be encouraged to make reports about it. They said it to your fucking face. Oh, we don't have enough fucking evidence. Sorry. Not enough conclusive evidence. You don't have a fucking copy of the video because the video fucking isn't yours. Did you think about that? Hey, dipshit. How about you actually put up some names of some of the people that you saw at that fucking party? Question them. Or try to figure out who that fucking girl who got assaulted was. You know? Try to get her to speak up, maybe. Instead of just blaming the fucking campus for information that you're not giving to them tacitly to make them look bad. It's difficult, but I feel like if something would have happened with this video, she shows off and corrects herself. What? I'm assuming that if she's anonymous, she's like commenting like on a post. Like, why would she need to correct herself on a post? You can just fucking change it automatically. It isn't even about the video though. It's that it happened and the university didn't do anything. They couldn't do anything because you didn't give them anything to do about it. For them to do anything about it. They encourage you to report it, okay? Give all details, okay? How about you put the fucking initiative and try to find the fucking bitch who got assaulted, make her speak up. Come on. In a way, though, it is kind of about the video, obviously, and the stark dilemma that created. The video, grotesque as it was, probably represented the best hope for shaming people into taking strong action in this case. Yeah, I'm going to shame idiots into taking little action because they're not taking strong action. She's just like, oh, there was an assault. I don't know where the video is. Do something about it. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't do anything about it because you didn't give us enough info. You got names? No, I can't give you that. You're fucking trying to sweep this under the rug to make it look like a fucking happy place. Fuck you guys. It was also, however, a vicious weapon that, if widely circulated, could have ruined a young woman's life. Like, uploading it to apparently make people aware of it, that would have ruined that young person's life because that would have been publicly in the eyes of many people who were probably doing the same exact things that these people were doing last night. Don't you think that might fucking ruin somebody's complete fucking privacy? Both of these outcomes, no, just both of one of those outcomes, have repeatedly proved to be consequences of our hyper-social digital culture, of course. Social media has become enmeshed in the lives of young people and a fair number of not-so-young people. So has widespread sharing of information about specific sexual assaults. Especially video and photos in recent... Okay, so that's apparently a problem. Even though this Kelsey girl was just saying, yeah, maybe if we published a video, if we got it somewhere, people would be aware about it. So either it's a bad thing to do or a good thing to do. You can't be on the fucking fence with this thing. You have to be on... You gotta be on one side or the other. On the one side, yeah, people are aware of it, and on the other side, it's shaming their fucking privacy. In recent years, a half-dozen high-profile sexual assault cases have centered around photos or video of the crime that were shared on social media. In 2010, a 16-year-old girl was drugged at a rave in Vancouver and violently raped by a half-dozen men while bystanders snapped photos and later uploaded them to Facebook. Soon the whole school had seen photos of what was undoubtedly one of the worst experiences of her young life. This past April, a 17-year-old girl named Rehtaeh Parsons took her own life in Nova Scotia. A year and a half earlier, Parsons had been gang raped at a party and harassed about it on Facebook. So, what I'm getting at here is that sexual assault happens. Obviously, you're not going to put an end to it. I mean, I would say it'd be a good thing if people are actually uploading it so that people are aware that, yeah, this wasn't bullshit at all. But are you saying that the principle of sexual assault is a problem? Because it's not like you're going to fucking bring it down to zero. Yeah, I mean, all sexual assault is bad, but you're not going to stop it indefinitely. I mean, you probably could give the people who did it some perspective, maybe give them some fucking humanity not to do so. Anyhow, let's keep it going. Probably the most notorious incident occurred in Steubenville, Ohio, in 2012. There, 2 high school football players and a handful of bystanders took photos and tweeted about the sexual assault of a 16-year-old girl who had passed out at a party. Then there was the case of 15-year-old Audrey Pott. In September last year, Pott had told her parents she was sleeping over at a friend's house in her hometown of Saratoga, California, on the western edge of Silicon Valley. Instead, she went to a party where she drank so much vodka and Gatorade that she passed out in a room and woke up to find her body written on with a Sharpie. Someone scrawled his name and was here on her leg like graffiti on a bathroom stall. Her shorts were off. She had no memory of what happened. The next day, photos of her naked body made their rounds on Facebook. Well, that seems like she was a lying fucking cunt to her parents by saying, oh yeah, I'm just going to a friend's house. But no, she went to a party, drank vodka and Gatorade. So if she's been publicly disgraced on Facebook for doing stupid shit, I think it's kind of a legitimate thing that I think it's kind of legitimate when people criticize her for it on Facebook because, you know, she pretty much lied to her parents' face, drank underage, you know, and possibly, you know, got all fucking inebriated. Well, definitely got fucking inebriated and let people do this. So she kind of brought it upon herself. Oh, yeah, I'm a fucking victim blamer. Ooh, I'm a bad person. Ooh. Victims should never take accountability for any of their actions at all. Ooh. I have a reputation for a night I don't even remember, and the whole school knows. She messaged her friend on Facebook because of the dumb shit you did. It wasn't just that she had been physically violated and still wasn't sure what had happened to her. Now even her classmates who weren't in the room had seen an intimate part of her body, and they were taunting her about it. In another message she wrote, "My life is ruined. I can't do anything to fix it." Well, you probably should look at what you did, okay? You called your parents and said, oh, I'm just going to a friend's house. You're 15 years fucking old. You went to a party. You got fucking drunk. You passed out. People exploited that because you're a dumb little shit. So you have no one to blame but yourself for being a shallow, fucking vapid, irresponsible little bitch. And I would not be surprised if your parents were fucking disgraced about the things that you just did. She didn't tell her parents what had happened. Oh, I imagine she didn't, because if she did, their parents would also know that she fucking lied to them. And she didn't go to school authorities. She certainly didn't press charges. Instead, 1 week after she woke up in that bedroom after the party, she hanged herself in her bathroom. At the time of her funeral, her parents still had no idea that their daughter had been assaulted. But over the next few days, the story started to come out. Classmates came forward with anecdotes and names. Eventually, 3 16-year-old boys were charged with sexual battery and distribution of child pornography. Ooh, damn. Well, that's bad for them. But they've been charged. You know, justice was served. But at the end of the day was that none of this would have possibly have happened. She wouldn't have had her fucking private and social life fucking toiled if she actually connected 2 fucking neurons to her brain and thought, wait, maybe going to a party underage and not with any, you know, guardians to make sure I'm safe is probably a bad idea. And that lying to my parents is also a bad idea. What all these stories have in common is a wrenching catch-22 at their core. For decades, the challenge facing anti-rape activists was to take what is often an intensely private crime, 54% of sexual assaults are estimated to go unreported, and bring it to national attention as a pervasive crisis. Now that cases regularly crop up in which photos and videos of sexual assaults are circulating in social media, it's becoming harder to argue that rape is anything but a public scourge. We are all bystanders, we all bear witness. Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but rape will never end. You will never end rape. You can try to inform people not to rape or not to get raped. You can do that all you wish. There will still always be people raping other people, such as there will always be people murdering other people. You can't just fucking stop it. And it's kind of a good thing that this information is being, more publicly shown, so that people can actually be aware of it, and that this is not a fucking joke, that no one's fucking lying to you, that you can actually take this, seriously. It wasn't just like, somebody just fucking said it and obviously it was true. It wasn't like Salem witch trials where all these women had personal grievances, all these people, and one way to kill them off was just to pretend that they were fucking witches and they were corrupting them and shit, and they were able to take personal materials from them once they were fucking eradicated because of that mass hysteria. Yet the increased attention on social media often has tragic consequences for victims. They don't just have to grapple with the physical and psychological ramifications of being sexually violated, they have to deal with the fact that everyone else knows what happened too. And there are going to be people that will mock them. There'll be people that sympathize with them. I'm sorry, there's always going to be two people on two different fucking fronts here. Rape was long considered to be a crime carried out by sex-crazed men who targeted strangers. I guess, I'm assuming it still is, if this is a feminist fucking article, since they think it's only the men who fucking do it. Women who were stupid and unlucky enough to walk alone down a dark alley or leave their doors unbolted. But starting in the late 1960s, feminists began working to change this common misconception, another fucking misuse of that word, of sexual assault. In her influential 1970 book, Against Our Will, Susan Brown Miller argued that rape is a crime not of lust but of violence and power, a social tool that men use to assert dominance over women and communicate that dominance to the wider world. Of course. It's nothing about the sex. It's not about a guy who's fucking desperate just to get his fucking socks off or just bust a nut real quick. It's not that. He's trying to communicate that to a wider world. Communicate that he's a fucking sadistic, morally unjustified cunt. Right? That's what he's trying to communicate to the wider world. Because I don't know if you're living in the same reality that I do, but when a man is even a fucking accused of rape, everyone, men and women, will see him as pretty much a fucking demon. Okay? So, it's not like he really has... Is there some kind of fucking violence and power with that? I know in India, fucking, or the Middle East, fucking, men actually casually talk to each other in conversation about the women they've raped for male bonding. That would be a rape, a crime of violence and power. But it's not here in the Western world. So what fucking world or what fucking universe do you live in where that is the case? At the time, it was still legal in most states for men to rape their... What the fuck? To rape their wives. I don't even think, even when this fucking country got started, that men were just allowed to rape their wives. I don't even think, even then, it was even allowed. And many states required all sexual assault allegations to be corroborated by a third party. Could you tell me what fucking year this happened, apparently? Is this like 2000 BC or something? God, this fucking article sucks. Both legal distinctions send a clear message that what happens behind closed door between two people, even if it's a violent sex crime, is not something the rest of us should be particularly concerned about. Well, I guess that became a problem for the feminists because, when people were starting to notice that people were just calling out that they were a fucking victim of something, people said, no, bullshit, we need to see some more evidence. And now you got feminists saying, oh, fucking victims don't need to show fucking evidence. Teach men not to rape. Don't teach me not to get raped. In the 1980s, victim advocacy organizations began publicizing the fact that the majority of sexual assaults are committed by someone the victim knows. So don't get to know people, victims. Don't know your family. They might rape you. There are simply not that many nefarious strangers, not that many dark alleys, but there is that many opportunities, right? Like when a shy guy has this girl that he's attracted to, but doesn't really know how to project his feelings, and she comes to his house for some weird ass fucking reason, drunk, and wants his cock because since she's drunk, she's out of judgment, and he's a. I'm sorry, I'm kind of taking this from the Offspring song "Self Esteem," sort of. It's kind of the thing is I don't want to resist, but then I know it's not the right thing to do. It's all that opportunity kind of thing. It's like, oh yeah, I really find her attractive. I want to get, in her vajayjay, but I want to do it when she's, comfortable about it and has, that unconditional love for me, not when she's drunk and doesn't know any better. This is a crime. This is a crime that happens every day in the spaces where we live and work and sleep and, yes, drink. Even though apparently it wasn't an epidemic until now. What we're going to do with those social media things that are trying to show us the fucking rapists. I mean, that probably shows that there is now more information about these rape allegations and whatnot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that rape is becoming normalized or that it happens on a fucking daily basis. Places where we feel safe. I feel safe here. Am I going to get raped? It is a crime that usually involves existing friendships, acquaintances, and relationships. Oh, then I probably should be worried that my friend Cody is probably going to try to rape me now too, huh? Probably should protect my anus next time I hang out with him. When we see photos and videos of a teen girl's body or of a high school boy bragging about taking advantage of her, this reality is thrown into stark relief. And when we see ordinary kids engaged in extraordinary, terrible behavior, we don't always look away. Often we click share. Maybe these fucking people want to share it as oh, this fucking shit's repugnant. I need to tell somebody how repugnant this shit is. That's probably why they're fucking clicking the share button, you fucking idiot. Because they're probably getting the same fucking reaction that you're getting, and they don't like it. Yeah, you're gonna probably get some people to be like, oh yeah, they fucking... No, that girl totally wanted it. She was passed out. She was drunk. You're going to get some people like that. But on the majority, there are people who don't like this kind of attitude. They don't like fucking high school boys bragging about how they fucking sexually harass somebody. They're going to fucking get shit canned, I tell you that. That was exactly what happened in Steubenville, Ohio. Thousands of us clicked on grainy images taken at a house party in Saw His body had gone slack, held by her arms and legs by two high school football players. We read tweets from bystanders joke, song of the night is definitely Rape Me by Nirvana. Oh, wow. We watched a video of those boys laughing about it and saying, she is so raped, her piss is about as dry as the sun right now. Most people who saw all this online could not even locate Steubenville on a map, but now they were witnesses to an awful crime that occurred there. And they probably had the same reaction you did. So tell me, is your concern about people saying, oh, that's perfectly all right to do? Or is it just the principle that fucking sexual assault and rape could possibly happen? Because that's not a fucking problem. It'd be like saying, man, people murder people. That's a problem. We should do something about it. We always normalize it, You know, we always have to share about this person who got killed by somebody. Indeed, the Steubenville case is perhaps the best representation of how social media can offer victims a path to legal relief by, in effect, creating more witnesses. Arguably, the case never would have resulted in a conviction if the images had not been circulated through social media. True. So why are you making this entire argument beforehand like as if that's a bad thing? Oh, she lost her privacy. Well, is it her privacy or is it justice? Do you want her privacy retained or do you want her justice seen? I mean, you can't have one without having the other. Or you can't have one with the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too. But social media does more than offer legal relief. The Steubenville tweets and photos infuse the crusade to end rape with a new degree of urgency. Suddenly, we weren't talking in abstractions about what he said or she said, and they shouldn't. We were looking at an Instagram photo of a comatose teenager being dragged around. That picture was a come-to-Jesus moment for a lot of people, says Kate Harding, author of a forthcoming book on a sexual assault called Asking for It. Oh boy, I bet that book has a lot to do with how the victim is not to blame about this. We had a conversation in the wake of Steubenville that we've never really had before as a country. All these things have been coming out, and it's something that we're hearing about on MSNBC and on CNN and in the big newspapers. A lot of what we're talking about is driven by the fact that there is video and social media. Social media is used as a demonstration of how many people care and are watching and listening. Good, goody, good. She didn't go the fucking feminist route. Thank goodness, Crotatius. The simple truth is that salacious videos help to get the media interested in what isn't exactly a new issue. That's why media is covering these stories more, says Jocelyn Friedman, executive director of the advocacy group Women Action in the Media, WHAM, and co-editor of Yes Means Yes, Visions of Female Sexual Power in a World Without Rape. Oh boy. You're never going to get that. It's said to me that this is the question of, does this make good TV or not? But that's a weird fucking question to ask, but I do think that it improves the chances for justice when those photos or videos are sent around. I don't think on balance it's worth it, but I'm not the one who gets to decide, she has. It's traumatizing to the victims and all of us, but if perpetrators choose to do it, we take advantage of it and use it against them. Good. That is a good sign of the social media. It isn't just the mainstream media that pick up these stories and move them forward. In several cases, video and photos that had been circulated only among teens were brought to wider attention by members of the hacker group Anonymous. Even though Anonymous is a pretty vague group. After no one was charged in Rete Parsons gang rape in Nova Scotia, Anonymous hackers found and published the names of young men allegedly involved in the 2011 attack. A 12-minute video of Steubenville boys joking about the assault, which includes comments like, she's deader than a doornail, followed by laughter, was also made public by Anonymous. It got more than 717,000 views. And yet, whatever the benefits, the horrific human downsides of all this sharing are never far from few. Yeah, there's always that and yet and although and whatever. During the trial, the Steubenville victim was asked on the stand how it felt to see photos of herself passed out. Not good, she replied. Moreover, while unearthing videos and photos and publicizing them beyond teens, social circles can lead to arrest, those photos and videos are just as likely to be turned against accusers as they are to help prosecute attackers. The questions have long dissuaded survivors from coming forward. What were you wearing? How much vodka did you drink? What were you thinking? Are now being asked on social media, and often whether or not a victim has made allegations herself. And as you can tell from the previous anonymous Kelsey, she didn't go out about this. She didn't go to her parents about it. The only thing she went out about was the sexual assault of somebody else. Inevitably, when people share images of a sexual assault, they end up putting the victim on trial along with the accused attackers. Well, of course they're going to do that, because they need to make sure that the victim's not bullshitting and just trying to get somebody tried because they have a personal grievance against them. You want fucking witch trials? And whereas there are legal protections to ensure the victims remain anonymous and that details such as her sexual history are not introduced as evidence at trial, no such courtesies are extended in the court of Twitter and Instagram. Well, you got fucking these social media rats who fucking bank on those two things. So I'm sorry that you can have no control over those. For a victim, there's no difference between people who share footage of the assault because they want to raise awareness about the problem and people who share footage to laugh at it, or worse, because it turns them on. Wait, there's no difference. There's no difference between the people who want to share awareness, get people vexed about these motherfuckers who did it, and then the people who want to laugh at that person. Oh my god. What the fuck? The horror of having the intimate violation of your body exposed, shared, transmitted, and existing in a way that you know can never be expunged is awful, says Kaif Morris Hoffer, legal director of the Chicago Alliance Against Sexual Exploitation. The case. Since the advent of the internet, has been a tremendous and devastating burden for survivors. To live with the knowledge that they have no hope of ensuring that images of their sexual violation will ever be erased. What social media does is make the transmission of it 100 times faster and more charitable, and 100 times as long lasting. It's kind of just like a little zit. You gotta get something that'll get really people talking real quick. Because, these people have, like, short-term memories. They're fucking ferrets on Twitter and Instagram. They'll turn to fucking something else. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to face some embarrassment from people sharing the fucking photo. But you're going to have people who sympathize with you. People, feel bad that you have to get this much public outcry about it when you probably wanted to keep things private. But then again, how are you going to live your life knowing that nobody could help you in your situation? Nobody could help you get these fucking people to justice. At all. How? How are you going to do that? Without, showing, how it went down. I mean, granted, yeah, people are going to be like, oh, you fucking asked for it because, you acted in such a way, such as that Andrew Pot bitch who decided to lie directly to her fucking parents. Didn't even tell her about it because I know that if she did tell them, they would have also figured out that she lied to them as well. So they would have also gotten pissed off at her about it. Attackers have created photographic and video evidence of their crimes ever since cameras and camcorders have been available. One of the characteristics of gang rapes is they're so performative, says Harding. The urge to document this particular kind of rape has apparently always been a part of it. It's just now we have the distribution. And I'm pretty sure that's going to discourage people from actually recording it because now there's sensitive details that shows their crime. In 2006, when Facebook was not yet a major cultural phenomenon, Morris Hoffer successfully intervened in a Chicago area court case in which a judge was going to make a victim watch footage of herself being sexually assaulted, a crime of which she had no memory, as part of her assailant's trial. Had that crime occurred in 2013, there was a good chance that victim would have come across such images on social media before she even decided whether or not to seek justice in court. And in essence, she would have still had gone to court about it. There would have been a court hearing about, who did what. So I'm assuming that the social media would be inevitably much faster than somebody's just word over another's. And that case illustrates another reality about images and videos of sexual assault. They can be easily be used as proof of consent rather than its absence. Even though the victim in the 2006 case ultimately wasn't forced to watch the footage, the trial ended up in an acquittal after defense attorneys went frame by frame and argued the victim, who was so drunk she doesn't remember the incident, had consented. Well, like I said, the whole being drunk thing is a really wish-washy kind of aspect. You can't really say that the person's consenting or that they're not consenting. But if she was so drunk that she couldn't remember it, I would say that she wouldn't be consenting. But that was the judge's fucking consensus. Whether you agree with that or not is your own little fucking bite. But it doesn't make fucking society like normalize, oh yeah, we're going to always say that the person was consenting. Ever since there have been photographs of sexual assault, the assertion of the survivor that the image is actually an image of abuse has been contested. Morris Hopper says, the material that is produced from the abuse is used as evidence that it wasn't abuse. Well, it could be, you know? It could be in that case, because they're taking into account the actions of that person. The actions of that person. Incongruence. Even if the perpetrators are convicted, it doesn't mean the victim is off the hook. The publicity surrounding images and photos can last well beyond the point where it's useful for the justice system. Recently, the tennis star Serena Williams came under fire for a sentiment that a lot of other observers expressed about the two convicted Steubenville rapists. They did something stupid, but I don't know. I'm not blaming the girl, but if you're a 16-year-old and you're drunk like that, your parents should teach you don't take drinks from other people. She's 16. Why was she that drunk where she doesn't remember? It could have been much worse. She's lucky. Williams later apologized directly to the victim and her family. Well, that's what I would have said too, was that, what the fuck? Meanwhile, the victim's attorney has made repeated public statements that she wishes the whole thing would just go away, but as with the night she was assaulted, she doesn't have much of a choice. There aren't any easy ways around the conundrum of social media and sexual assault. One strategy being pursued by activists is to go after social media posts that are unambiguously pro-rape. Recently, Wham! Freeman's media advocacy group embarked on a campaign to get Facebook to pull down any pages with titles like violently raping your friend just for laughs that promote sexual assault. I'm pretty sure the fucking post is not supposed to be serious. Dozens of organizations signed on to a letter demanding swift, comprehensive, and effective action addressing the presentation of rape and domestic violence on Facebook. So, pretty much erase any evidence that would possibly make the victim at fault here and assume that the victim's always right. Right? That's the pro-rape, unambiguous kind of perspective, right? Facebook had long taken a laissez-faire approach to responding to user reports of pages peppered with rape jokes, images, and in some cases threats. The reason we targeted Facebook is because they have a policy against hate speech, Freeman says. In some ways, they're ahead of the game because, at least in theory, they have a policy that this stuff is not welcome there. Eventually, Facebook admitted its attempt to curtail hate speech had failed because there's so much of it. How are you going to fucking filter that? And unveiled plans to improve its monitoring system. Well, and another thing, too, that a lot of the hate speech can be not serious because there's anonymity on Facebook, too. People can just say what the fuck they like, and they don't have to be accountable for it at all because, A, they're not being serious about it, and B, who the fuck are they? But Facebook, with its hate speech policy, is the exception. Most popular social media sites like Twitter and Tumblr have no such community standards. Yeah, I can tell, because we got Sui Park saying that white men can't fucking possibly understand what Asian women go through. Their terms of use lean toward unfettered free speech. Ooh, no, what can we do with that unfettered free speech? What silence people who have things that say things that are going to be a little bit mean? Placing the onus on users not to post or share objectionable content, and maybe even the Facebook policy will have diminishing returns. Focus group research, I'm assuming this research is not going to be very good, shows teens have a waning enthusiasm for Facebook because of the increasing adult presence there. Perhaps with a big enough activist effort, it would be possible to push Twitter and Tumblr to temper their free-for-all approach and formally reject content that promotes rape. Then, if that was the case, then we're going to have fucking sites like, Ask Molestia being pulled down, even though that was already pulled down, because it's technically promoting rape, even though it's not being serious about it at all. So, pretty much anything that would have any correlation to rape jokes, drawings of somebody getting raped, that would be pulled down. Is that what you want? Still, enforcement of such a policy would fall to users who would be the ones reporting posts that violate the policies. It would be like a whack-a-mole. as I could tell, because as you can see from Facebook's hate speech policy, it's not working that well because it's hard for them to filter what exactly is facetious and serious, and, all of the people are going to say some stupid fucking ignorant shit. You just gotta fucking ignore it. One possibility is that the legal system could end up offering some recourse for activists. Pretty much privilege. And Christina Tilley, a media law professor at Northwestern University, predicts that eventually we're going to see people sued in civil court for posting videos and images of sexual assault. What? That seems like fucking bullshit. So the people who are going to do that to spread awareness are going to get sued for that? They're going to get sued for posting that because they want to spread awareness? I mean, you're going to get people who post that shit to be like, oh yeah, look at this bitch, she got fucking sexually assaulted. Share this, guys. But fucking Christ. Are they just going to throw everyone in a fucking funnel and say, oh yeah, they're all going to get sued for posting it? It doesn't matter why they're posting it. But it's not entirely clear to me how successful they might be, she says, and if it clearly suits along these lines don't succeed, that may discourage others from filming and send a message about whether underlying conduct is off limits or tolerable. Exactly. So pretty much the person will have to, the person who got assaulted would have to sacrifice their justice, their, warrant, justice to be seen against the people who did this to her. Because you're going to get fucking people are going to sue people for posting this shit. Of course, if such lawsuits, coupled with tougher enforcement of community standards by Facebook and other sites, did ultimately lead to fewer violations of rape victims' privacy and fewer suicides, that would be a wonderful thing. Good. There would be still the question of how to continue making rape a public crime without intruding on the privacy of victims. I'm sorry, you can't do it. You can't fucking do it. Rape is either completely public or completely private. You can't have it fucking both ways. I mean, unless, like, a person wanted to set their profile to private and only have certain people see her actions, but, it's not going to get as much voice. It's not going to get as much attention. And is it just for the sake of the person having to deal with a little bit of embarrassment? I mean, it could be a lot of embarrassment, but it's a lot of embarrassment for a short time because people don't have the attention spans for that shit. They're going to go to something else. They're going to fucking see what stupid shit Nicki Minaj is doing, or what stupid fucking Ariana Grande or Iggy Azalea song came out next. There's always a fucking trendy thing almost every fucking week now. It's hard to keep up. After all, if users are sharing photos and videos of sexual assault as a way to encourage action against such crimes, it's hard to call such content hate speech. Exactly! So, like I said, the whole filtering thing is really fucking, blasted out of the water. The whole hate speech policy. Because there's going to be people who are going to be talking about it because they don't like what they see. So you're pretty much going to silence everyone from even talking about it. Like, it's not really comfortable. And so when it comes to social media that is not pro-rape and instead aims to raise awareness of it, advocates are more conflicted. If they could wave a magic wand and make all social media content documenting rape disappear, would they? They would. I only want that if we'd somehow otherwise transform the culture so we took women and men seriously when they report rape. We do take it seriously, but we need fucking info. We need fucking proof. Evidence. I'm sorry that I'm not going to assume that when somebody says they're rape, that it's automatically fucking true. Nevertheless, I'm still going to take it seriously because I know I don't advocate fucking rape. For her part, Freeman argues that activists should take their cues from victims. We have to do our best as activists and journalists to either find out what the victim would want or at least consider that question, she says. If we don't have access to the info, we have to do our best to be empathetic and try to imagine what the victim would want. Or ask them, who was it, how long ago, where, why didn't they go about it earlier? Shit like that. In some cases, perhaps the answer lies in considering the content of each individual photo or video. Much of the footage and many of the tweets that came out of Steubenville didn't picture or name the victim at all. They featured perpetrators and bystanders laughing about the crime. While we might be wary about outing victims as we pursue justice, most of us had far fewer qualms about publicizing the sickening remarks of an onlooker who encouraged the attackers. Documenting the callous way perpetrators and bystanders discuss rape has the potential to be just as horrifying as a blurry photo of a crime or its aftermath, a way to highlight the banality of this particular evil. So, yeah, pretty much right there. If you want to raise awareness about somebody getting sexually harassed, you're a fucking evil person, and you shouldn't do that. You should make sure that the victim has no justice first seen at all. Okay? Her privacy is more concerning than her justice. Photos and videos that feature bystanders have the added benefit of engaging all of us from a perspective we understand. Most of us don't identify with sexual predators, but in the age of social media, we all know what it's like to witness an attack. And that is the end of that fucking article. I'm sorry it was so long. I didn't expect it to be that long. It's quite a few fucking pages. I think this video is almost like, almost an hour. So I'm tired. I want to get to bed. I'm out. I don't want to read any more stupid fucking feminist articles. I just got to. It's kind of my job.